Today joining me is one of my oldest friends. I worked with him way back at Red Food Store in the mid-'80s. He was a good friend then, and I've watched him for years. He's AKA Doc Hollywood, and boy, are we in for a treat. Did you eat lunch today? Or did you go to church or what?
I kind of put a half a day in at the infamous salt mine.
Did you eat lunch before you came?
Yeah.
You ever eat, you like Mexican?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I do.
What do you like to eat when you go to Mexican?
I've been down the street here at Los Margaritas a few times.
That's a great, I was there last week. I think his name's Lala. Boy, he's a real, if you wanted to eat Mexican in Cleveland, if you want to go, I think they've been here as longer than anybody, I believe. It's quick. Before you sit down, if you go wash your hands, it's already there. What is it about Mexican restaurants that are a little bit cheaper, faster, and tasty?
Absolutely. I've always had a great meal there. I've been consistent every time I've been in.
I just like it, don't you? And it's quick to get into.
Yes, absolutely. In and out there.
Yeah.
On the courthouse square at 30 2nd Street is the law firm of Logan Thompson Law. Since 1965, they have served the legal needs for the good citizens of Cleveland-Bradley County. If you've got a problem, they're no problem. Give them a call.
When was it the last? I don't know when I've seen you last.
It may have been there in the 80s. It may have been that long ago. As I left Cleveland for a brief time, continued on with Red Food and worked in Athens and Maryville, Tennessee, and didn't get back into Cleveland for several years later. Kind of left most of the folks behind. I ran with some other people at different times, but it may have been then.
Did you stay at Red Food? You were there, I believe, when I left, because I left probably in '80. Well, you were there in high school, weren't you?
Yeah, all through high school, junior year. The story about that, and I'll tell you a quick story. May of '81, I was going to try to get the jump on all the rest of the guys going out and get the bag boy jobs. Mm-hmm. So a guy named Alan Romanger, a friend of mine in school, I said, "Hey man, can I borrow your car?" And to my surprise, he pitched me the keys. This was like during school.
Yeah.
So I'm going to really get the jump on. I took off, left Bradley, which was no guard shack, nobody there or anything, just drove off. Went around to a certain place around town, and then I struck a chord there with Red Food and a guy named Eddie Wells. Mm-hmm. I was telling him about, if you hire me, I'll be here. Of course, my hair was a little long then, and he advised me to get a haircut and be back tomorrow at 3 o'clock. They'd probably put me on 3 or 4 o'clock. So that's where it got started at. And yes, I continued that career on, and still in the business nowadays with different companies, and have a lot of good memories from back in the day. The guys I met like you, Chuck
White, yeah.
Chuck White, and Tony Gobble.
Tim Gobble.
Tim Gobble, yeah. Good.
Chucker, did you call him Chucker?
I don't think I ever
he got
did.
that a little later. You were always in produce, right?
Yes, some of the guys either gotten fired or quit or something, and they had a mass opening, 3 or 4. There'd been a couple of guys hired just a few days ahead of me. A guy named A.C. Cooper and a guy named Keith Sewell. We were three of a kind over there. They were pretty strict to work for, about the haircut, wearing the belt, bow tie always on. It was standards, high standards, and that's good. It instilled a lot in me, which I've carried through my career, cutting my teeth right there at the Red Food stores. I carried that on. I had my sights, Dee, set on someday being a produce manager, no matter what it took. I busted it for 3 years. I had the produce manager job for almost 4 eventually, and I had 4 years, held it with them. Of course, I traveled from Cleveland to Athens to Maryville, Tennessee, and then back to Athens. And then I resigned, got out of the grocery business for about 18 months. It was just in my blood, so to speak. and jumped back in it and been in it straight since April of '89. So a net close to 40 years.
Do you go? That's what, like Monday through Friday. That's your, I guess your, what do you call it? That's you're in the grocery stores.
Yeah, there's a little bit more. I was half a day yesterday and half a day today to get up here. So in there, I'm whatever the schedule says, salary. I've been salary D probably 30 plus of the 40 years I've been in the business. You're talking about a lot of time. I'm just somebody.
Now, if I remember correctly, you had perfect attendance at Red Food. For some reason that sticks in my mind. Is that right?
I believe so. I don't recall ever missing a day with them, especially in the beginning there. And speaking of that, I remember there in '82, the boys basketball team at Bradley went to the state tournament. The state tournament format was a Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night games. So I had Thursday off. I was clear there. But there was a dilemma. If the boys had won Thursday night, they'd played Friday and Saturday, I was scheduled both nights. I have no doubt in my mind I would have been fired. Because that's the way they were. They had people lined up at that time. Hiring's not like it is today in 2023. But the boys lost on that Thursday night, so I guess that extended my grocery store career, because I was going to be at that game. There's no doubt about it.
Isn't that funny that nowadays it's not really that important attendance? And when we were growing up, that was instilled in our brain to be there and be responsible no matter what.
Absolutely, it's black and white, night and day difference.
How did they instill that in us?
I don't. It was brought on. Some from my dad, seeing him get up and go to work every day, no matter what.
What'd he do for a living?
Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
Primarily engineering, Brown Stove, chief engineer at Brown Stove, senior draftsman, I believe, at Hardwick, Magic Chef, then on with Burner Systems International. A long career in that, and worked in tool and die as well. Did quite well in that, and I'll tell you on this today, he told me recently he never made over $35,000 a year and raised 2 kids, single parent. Don't know how he did it, don't know how he got by. Of course, my folks split up in '72, been a long time, and I didn't really grow up in that family environment, but my dad really, he provided well, did a lot of things for me and my brother.
You think he instilled the be responsible?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. He wrote a letter to me and my brother in the bicentennial year of '76, and one of the lines I remember in it was that being right will not always bring good times to your door. Doing the right thing. Things like
That's
that.
the truth, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Golly.
Blow up in your face when you're doing the right thing.
Matt Dillon said the same thing, I believe, on Gunsmoke.
Those were the days. That was a destination show back in the day there.
So during the day, isn't it a lot better to go to a grocery store environment? And grocery stores are happy places. I mean, there's a little music, everything's clean, it's all about clean, people are happy, and do you feel lucky to be in that environment every day rather than me wrestling with brick masons? No offense to brick masons.
Absolutely, I do. I tell people kind of sheepishly, well, I work at a place that's got music, PA overhead, it's got alcohol, beer, wine sales, gambling, the lottery tickets, so where do you work at? I kind of stretch them out there for a piece.
But that's like working at a casino.
Absolutely. It's been like, it's like a central spot. You run into a lot of people you build relationships and have fun with. And, it's been very rewarding for me. And, too often I've talked to people that, have a degree in a certain area. Well, they've got phased out, or their degrees in one aspect of the business, but they're forced to go work in another.
Yeah.
Mostly in a corporate situation, corporate environment. Yes, it's been good because since it was just my old high school job, just trying to get a little bit of insurance money and gas money. That's the way it started out back in May of '81. Love what I do, absolutely do.
Well, when I was even there, I think you were like already, you weren't bagging groceries in. You were already at a different level than I was. I think you had a regular schedule then.
Yes, I remember the first week I worked there, it was 22 and a half hours, and like 22 hours was what we were supposed to work, it was a half hour over. Yeah, the produce thing, I guess I kind of lucked into, because what had ever happened, just right off the street, usually you're brought in as a bag boy to see if you're going to show up on time. You're wearing a belt, you keep your bow tie on your neck, and you kind of get promoted over. For whatever reason, I was shuffled in, like I say, just a couple of days behind the other two that were hired. We were a three-man crew over there, part-time, second shift, a red food store there. You know, it was first job, punching the clock. Life was grand. Run into good people like you and Chuck.
Yeah,
and Tony.
go with the Crystals on break. Remember, it was just down the road, wasn't it? Across the street.
Yeah, absolutely. Go down there and loosen up the salt shakers if you decide to eat in for a little bit.
Can you look at produce now and say if it's fresh or not?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
yes.
you've got to be the expert at it.
There's the thing about what I do now, and still in the industry. Most of it is so old hat. It's just I don't even have to think about doing it. And I'm sure you are being in your business as well. It's just become natural. It's not a fight anymore. I know to do X before Y, Z before A. It just and so forth and so forth. It's going to work out. Had some success in it. I think I shared with you my resume prior to coming up here. If you had a chance to look at it back in the '80s, there I was quite proud of with Red Food there. Some of the displays I built, some of the accomplishments, and I've had sprinkled success throughout the career.
Now you have been in actual training, didn't you? You actually have been doing some training for two employees, right?
Yes, I've been in a position. Yes, I've was out with Walmart for 19 years. Salary member.
Which one?
Primarily in Hickson, Tennessee, at a big $100 million supercenter. Done $100 million the first 4 years the thing was open. A lot of volume came through there. We had these classes, bring in store managers, other people from other stores, and we'd run through a series of trainings, open the produce department, maintain the produce department, close it. Just a few, 5, 6 bullet points. Showing them how the operation should run. The store was picked. Was one of the senior guys there. Got a certificate for all those. We probably ran 10 or 12 classes through that, through there between 2000 and 2010 or so. Yeah, lots of enjoyment. A lot of pleasure.
You've been a real success in that area of.
Yeah, my daddy, going back to my dad, back when I was around 76 or so, I think he told me and my brother both, says, boys, if you don't start paying attention in school, you're going to be working in a grocery store the rest of your life. But my biggest fear on that, I'm kind of off the beaten path, was being the 5 to 11 French fry boy at McDonald's. So I paid attention as best I could, but still wound up here at a 40-year career.
You were always real smart, though. Oh. It's just a matter of that's what you chose to do. But when was it that you was on the talk show 102 was it 102.3?
Yeah, thank you for asking about that. Kind of got into that thing around the early 90s. A guy named Parker Smith kind of had this shock jock show, and it was 102.3, and he'd have these meetings. You'd basically go out to a bar, and
in the early 90s.
Carried on. The 80s, early 90s, and with Parker Smith and his crew, and he was out, real controversial. He was not retained when the station was sold, and then went on to another group of guys. But I had the memories from back in the day, the KZ 106 guys, the Morning Zoo and all that, those guys, the Jammer, the Chaser, all of them had this ER, seemed like on the end of their name. Mm-hmm. And David Carroll was in it.
David Carroll, yeah.
Had all that fascination. Of course, we listened to that, kind of grew up in that 80s with that. And I thought, I'd like to do something like that someday. And, I kind of tagged along. There was a multi-time guest, 102.3. So one of the shows I was talking about bars and nightclubs, which I spent a lot of time in from '80s and beyond.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, Dee, there's nothing like being at a nightclub in Chattanooga past midnight, living in Cleveland and working in Athens, Tennessee, being on the clock by 7. Yeah. And driving by Bowaters. If anybody deserves a medal, it's somebody that's done that.
Oh, drive by, you mean with the speeding tickets?
Bowaters, the stench about that morning after you've been.
Yeah. Which bar was it you frequented during that era?
Oh, well, you know.
Party Zone, remember that?
Party Zone, formerly there was several different names. That thing, it was, I think originally opened as a sports page, different bars. It was Kelly's Page 2.
By the time I got there, it was Party Zone, and it was wild.
It was wild. Multi-thing had those mirrors in it. And, you know, in the 80s back in school, Bradley, it wasn't uncommon to see somebody down at Paul Gray's Play Lake Club.
I never got there.
It was a lot happening. Your $5 bill was your ID. You know, it was something else there too as well.
That was prior to me.
Got just a few years. Yeah, I think the first time I darkened the door there was probably in '81.
Now, what music do you remember in the? What music? I know you're big into disco, but disco, we were on the heels of disco, but not on the heels of. I don't know, and I'm like you. I really like disco. I don't know why people anybody would be negative on it. Because what disco song do you not like? Except Disco Duck, maybe.
Rick Dees and his band of idiots, or whatever he called his band. You know, the memories there, you know, and share with you about that. I remember seeing the movie Saturday Night Fever.
Oh, yeah.
In late December of '77, my recollection there, at the Village Theater. Not very far from Whoop Radio Station.
Yeah.
Of course, that was before the thing split, the Village Twin and whatnot.
As before the tokens. That's when you had to wait outside for your parents to come and get you.
Yes, absolutely.
Remember that guy that worked there all the time? The same guy that ran the cash register forever? Remember him?
I do remember him. I don't know the man's name.
I mean, he was an icon. I think his name was Bill. He was real all business, wasn't he? Remember him?
I do remember him. Yes, I do.
But Saturday Night Fever, that was the best movie, wasn't it? I think I'm gonna watch that again tonight.
Seen it a few times since then. Obviously, not any kind of a dancer. I used to have a little original routine. It was a spoof off of the dance scene in Saturday Night Fever, where they did the contest thing.
I've seen you dance before. You can dance.
It's kind of makeshift, on the fly, synchronized. Yeah, it's kind of a spoof off of Saturday Night Fever, but I've had a little fun with that. Yes.
But the best scene was when he was carrying the paint bucket down the sidewalk. Wasn't it?
You know, I went to somewhere over the years, a Halloween costume contest, and I did tote a can of paint. I don't have it in my possession. It's probably left there at the venue. But I did do that, yes, yeah.
See, I'm Italian, so I get it. I got that part.
Very good, very good. Glad you have some appreciation for that.
But then later on, mid-'80s, it became more hard rock, as in KZ106, right? Def Leppard, Foreigner, I guess.
Yes.
Motley Crue,
Yes.
Van Halen.
Van Halen, yes. You know,
ZZ Top.
saw a lot of those guys, Dee, in the 1980s, some of the very ones you just mentioned, the UTC Arena, which I thought those days would go on forever.
Oh, remember, were you at the Loverboy? I was at Loverboy.
I was at the Loverboy
Boy, that
show.
was wild, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were so hot with
Just
those.
wondered why we didn't get killed.
Absolutely.
I was down on the floor.
Down floor level. I was in the third ring that I remember, and the unique thing about that particular show, glad you brought it up, I think that's the only time Loverboy was at UTC.
I think it was.
I had
Boy, they were hot, weren't they?
Small Frisbee about the size of a small plate, and me and my people I were with, we wrote our seat number on it with a black magic marker. And as soon as the lights went out at that particular show, we threw them out. It was a $5 reward to bring them back. And they never came back.
Never came back.
But yes, I've actually brought a token of appreciation of some of my concert stuff collection to leave with you.
Yeah.
And yeah, the Van Halen show, yes, and my very first one, kind of going back just a bit there, was Prince Time and Vanity 6 with the Memorial Auditorium in '82. And it was crazy. It was a lot of crazy things. There was no uniform security there. There was a lot of crazy things in the
That's
air.
before people got stomped at the Who concert.
Yes. I would, yeah. It was a good show, and went down there with some people from Red Food, and really enjoyed that. Kind of set my sails on the concert and music, and yes, everything from ZZ Top to Heart, REO Speedwagon, Billy
Who do you
Squire.
think was better, REO Speedwagon or Loverboy? That's been a debate ever since time began. I don't know why people get them two, but to me, I've got an answer for it. But what do you think?
I'll tell you, probably Loverboy. Probably.
See, I'm more of an REO Speedwagon.
And they had a lot of contemporary, so of course they both did at
Well,
the
REO
time.
Speedwagon was a little more theatrical in their performance.
They were through the UTC arena that I remember in '80s twice in about an 18-month span. I believe I was at both shows.
Remember REO Speedwagon's that song?
They had, had everything.
Got to roll with the changes.
Yeah.
Boy, that's a good song.
Absolutely.
I get to listen to that sometimes. I think, man, that is a good song.
Lots of concerts back in the day, too many to name. Yeah, seen a lot of them.
What is it about music that now I know some people, they don't think anything about music, but with me it's a big deal.
Yeah, let's talk about the songs were popular then, just right off the radio. I mean, like you and I can go into any business and here's the background, the Muzak version of it, take
Yeah.
you back in time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going through that with having seen in excess of 100 big time name concerts.
Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, a lot in the UTC arena, and of course Riverbend. I count Riverbend, some of them.
Sure.
It's just, it takes you back, and really, it takes you back. That's what it comes to my mind. Back in the day, we're still somewhat young and impressionable, and one thing I didn't change a lot with the music, the stuff nowadays, even from 2000 on, there's only a very few handful of select songs that catch my ear. Most of them are about females, but
Like Miley Cyrus, Dua Lipa. Boy, they've got good songs.
maybe I'll tune it in on the way back.
Yeah.
Just a very few. But yeah, it takes me back to those carefree days in the '80s, and thought those days would last forever.
And I get thinking, why do we think it's not still going on? Because we thought it was over then. We think it's over now. When we're 70, will we say, man, in my 50s? I mean, let's not discount today as being pretty carefree too, right? Maybe it's in our head. Maybe we just think we're supposed to wear the bow tie.
Yeah. A few of them have caught my eye in here.
That era, though, I went to a thing at the museum. They had a dinner and a band. And the band was Monsters of Yacht. And I had no idea what yacht was. But yacht is just about all music from 75 to 90. And so they're not calling it disco and all this, they're calling it yacht rock, which sort of makes me mad because disco is one thing, and Crosby, Stills and Nash is a total another thing.
I've seen something similar to the band called Yacht Rock Review.
Yeah, Z-Bear on YouTube, it's really good. It's called Z-Bear. She just all she does is plays music from mid 70s to late 80s, and she'll show the album. She never talks. She'll show it, and she'll put it on. Then she'll put on the earphones, and then she'll act like she's adjusting something, and she's putting the next one. It's really good.
Very good.
It's like 24 hours of just that. But let me ask you this: so, how did you evolve into Doc Hollywood?
Excellent question, Dee. Of course, again, with my kind of talked to you earlier about when I latched on, listened to 102.3 FM out of Chattanooga, and moved out of Cleveland to Chattanooga in '98. Been down there for 25 years. Kind of latched on to the talk format, and then of course I was still listening to the KZ 106 format quite a bit.
Yeah, the talk format. What were you doing there with that?
Well, again, that they would talk primarily about local issues. Had different shows on there, two hours a day, be local issues. And I was an invited guest again, talking about bars and nightclubs, and
But not politics.
Oh,
that's
no,
never
no.
been your thing.
no, nor religion.
Yeah.
Not talking about it publicly.
Yeah.
So I latched on to a sports show in the afternoon. They like their callers to call in, Tennessee did great this week, so and so team, sucked or whatever. They wanted you to call in as a handle, like CB radio back in the day, Big Orange or Little Joe or Big Daddy Bama, like that. I really didn't have a handle to start with. I would call in under different names, give my 2 cents on what I thought was going on with, sports, and liked how the Big Orange performed or did and whatnot. And I, like I say, struggled with my on-air name for a while there, for several months. And I had been to Honolulu, Hawaii. Big trip for me, 10 days. White Sandy Beaches, Honolulu, Hawaii. I'd made a innocent purchase of a Planet Hollywood t-shirt. Oh, I went to a remote broadcast on their Sport Talk, 102.3 FM. As soon as I walked in the door with that shirt, the senior guy on the staff said, "That's what we want you to call in under. It's Planet Hollywood." So that lasted for a length of time. And then the call screener, I'd call in one time and got it mixed up, and they put me on as Doc Hollywood.
Instead of
So-
Doc Holliday, yeah.
It stuck. At first it's sometimes say Hollywood, Holiday. I like the Hollywood. We stuck with the Hollywood. It just kind of it evolved, and the handle, it was one word right off the tongue, and made lots of calls.
So you're known on the radio as Doc Hollywood. You've now got your own show on Whoop FM 99.9.
Yes, I've enjoyed doing that show. Had so much fun. I don't get to do it as often as I would like. Pretty much have got it down to once a month, a theme show, whether it be Halloween, Easter, 4th of July. We do it once a month on select Saturday nights. It's been a little bit since I've been up there. But yes, I got my poster down there, 2-hour time slot, 6 to 8 p.m. Doc Hollywood's Dynamite Dance Show. We feature the best of the 70s, 80s, R&B, my favorite, disco. And it allows me to reminisce. Going to those concerts back in the day was building a resume to talk about, which I didn't realize at the time. Thankful to the powers that be at Whoop for allowing me to be down there and have a little fun with that show.
Do you know if there's a lot of listeners on that, or can you tell?
There's no book ratings. I know that some of the guys locally here in Cleveland, they run into people occasionally and say, "Yeah, we heard him."
Well, I knew about it.
When we changed the format a few years ago, I used to take calls, but it got to where the callers would want to hear Skinner and Led Zeppelin, and I'm like, no, this is 2 hours of a different palette. It's pretty much 70s, 80s disco. Now the show, Dee, in the beginning was not like it is in the last, say, 3 or 4 years. I'd take calls. It was kind of all over the board, and it just led to me eliminating the calls, where I made a set list of set songs, sticking with the upper beats per minute, the danceable stuff, the disco type stuff.
Hey, let's go back to that. Did you say beats per minute, upper beats per minute?
There's something that qualifies disco where you've got so many beats per minute, the movable, the danceable stuff. You know,
So how many, so you're saying that disco has the beats per minute is, I ride bicycles, cycling, and you're supposed to cycle to 80 beats per minute. And so I try to pick songs that go with that. So what is a disco? Is all disco a faster beat?
I believe it's 135 beats per minute. I want to say that. Quick Google would confirm that or prove me false.
So it's high beat.
And you know, you've got, in that genre, you still have the slower song with people like Donna Summer, which I saw the play of her life, about her life from young age to the very end there, not very long ago, Memorial Auditorium. You know, there's some slower songs, but the faster stuff, that's what I like.
What about the Bee Gees? They've got some slow songs like
How Deep Is Your Love?
that's what I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
Boy, that was a good song, wasn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Lots of their things. I recently saw the band called Black Jacket Symphony played the Saturday Night Fever album front to end.
Is that right?
With Yvonne Elliman's "If I Can't Have You" and the other songs. Some of them don't even have words.
That was
in them.
If I Can't Have You. That was when he was dancing with the not so good looking girl that's on the show, right? They were doing the arms like this.
That may have been the scene there.
Yeah. Well, I got a good memory.
That show, I need to watch it
Yeah,
again myself. Just
So
keep
you're
the streak alive.
primarily in this 2 hours. You try to stay with upbeat disco.
Yeah, we do slow it down occasionally, and we'll have a co-host, a Solid Gold co-host, kind of a playoff. Back in the day, used to be shows called Solid Gold, and they would have current songs. Andy Gibb would host them, and I took that wording, the Solid Gold, show, and have a co-host in there. Occasionally, we'll pick one song out and get up and do a little twist around dance there, just to say it's a dance show.
Yeah.
Kind of unrehearsed in a square space,
Yeah.
and we have a little fun with it. Try to keep at least one going. Then we'll slow it down there a little bit.
If you had your choice, would you be just a radio host playing music all day long in the perfect world?
In a perfect world, but unfortunately, there's not the financial end of it. I understand it's a struggle. You're probably having to work 3 jobs to, hear some of these guys tell it that are still in the business. It's
just different, isn't it?
Yeah, was not much money in it then. I don't think there is now. You're looking to supplement your income from some other source. I do this as a hobby. It doesn't cost anything. Just drive up to Chattanooga. It's mainly just like the world's gotten, it's time management, figuring out your window of opportunity to get up here on certain select Saturday nights. Since the pandemic, things have kind of changed in the working force. There's a little more demand on that end. Don't enjoy quite the free time I did before the pandemic, but I sure enjoy it. It's like a nostalgic trip there, at the Village Green Town Center, just right there where the Hobby Mart.
Hobby Mart, yeah.
Remember that thing?
Oh, yeah, I
Balsa
remember.
Wood.
Yeah.
Of course.
Didn't they sell cameras?
They had a variety of things in there. I think model cars.
Cars.
And, you look out that Village Mall there.
I couldn't buy anything in that place, could you? I just walked around.
I don't know that I ever made a purchase there either. And looked around as well.
Revco, did you ever go to Revco?
Oh, yes, that Revco, and they had the Swiss Alley there.
Swiss Alley, yeah.
Remember they would put up the Santa Claus house there at the village, and if you were lucky, you would get your wish lists to Santa read. The folks would drop it off the mailbox. It may get read on the whatever station it was, WBAC or whatnot. The next day or two, you'd listen for it. I want a big wheel,
right.
Romper room set. Just coming into that Village Green Town Center right there. Of course, known as a village back in the day there. the infamous Tokens game room there later on. I spent many hours.
Yeah, I did
and
too.
lots of take-home pay in the Pac-Man machine. Never could get high score.
Boy, I tell you what, there's nothing worse feeling than to work all day and spend half of it in one of those machines, was there? Did you ever do that?
Absolutely there. I still have some free plays from that Tokens, and I'll tell you a little story about that. I never knew there were free plays when I was hanging out there, but I found some in the dumpster after the place closed down. It abruptly closed in, I remember, spring of '83. There was a lot of chaos that night. What are we going to do? Tokens had closed down.
Who even owned that?
I'm not sure if that was franchise or what. I know
It was like 2 levels, wasn't it?
Yes, you go in, and if you'll remember, that thing prior at one time was the Village Washateria.
Yeah.
And it eventually evolved into Tokens. I don't know what led to the closing of it. Probably adult beverage bottles left on the parking lot one too many times.
Boy, we used to circle that place and circle that place.
We had all the time back and had a dollar for
What were we driving by for?
I spent a lot of time on the sidewalk there near the fire hydrant looking out, and one time I saw the '67 Camaro of my own drive by where I'd left it at another residence, and I was bad about leaving the keys underneath the floorboard.
You saw it driving by?
Saw my own car driving by, and when my friends hollered "citizens arrest," and the pursuit was on.
What I always remember is when you was driving by and you was trying to act cool, they had that speed hump right by the door, and you go, it's hard to,
It is.
it's hard to look too cool when you're going like that.
I have a picture it's taken shortly after that game room closed in spring of '83, and I took one again in the spring of 2023, 40 years apart, before and after. Post that on my social media there.
So before and when it was Tokens, boy, I'd like to see that.
Just shortly after it had closed, because the story I was going to tell you is I had an apartment at that time in '83 up on Highland Avenue. I knew the game room was closed, and I drove by it when they were dismantling it. Like, oh my gosh, this stuff is valuable to me. It's gold.
Yeah.
The dumpster out in front. Yes, once upon a time I did a dumpster dive, but it was for a good cause. I rescued those shiny letters, Toknes, Tokens. I still have those in my possession. You might remember, you look in the game room, don't have the sign out front. Have some of the chrome. It was really had a lot of chrome in it, and the O is big enough to be a mirror, and it still looks good. And I was a guest at Whoop Radio on the now defunct Old Town Cleveland shows, hosted by Ron and Debbie Moore, the late Ron Moore. And I brought those letters all the way from Chattanooga, refurbished in a box, and put those up. And I did a retro '80s shows, all things Cleveland and retro there. And they got those free plays I didn't know existed. I guess that's when the machine took your coins or something and it messed up, and they would give you a free play. But
I guess, yeah.
I've got one of those, and I'll leave that with you here.
Now that was before quarters. Remember quarters?
Quarter
I remember
Palace.
that one was Tokens and the other was quarters.
Quarter Palace.
Quarter Palace,
Which is
quarters.
the
Quarter
plumbing
place, yeah.
At one
So
time.
you were probably you're at the bars by then,
That's
and I was still at the game rooms.
game room. Yeah, that thing was, I don't know how they paid the overhead on that thing. It was something. I only darkened the door of that place a few times. Yes, my fascination had kind of moved on.
Yeah.
Said towards the Chattanooga area, and then of course leaving Cleveland later on for.
Quarter Palace was wilder than Tokens, and that's wild.
I would imagine. Yes, I would imagine. I think too was one of the dampers that was happened to me along that time. I was working third shift at the Red Food store, so I was sleeping all day. Now, some of the third shift guys managed to slip over and play a few games of pool, and they would come back in when I was working third shift and try to make a name for myself in that. So I was focused more on the working at that time. And he would give me a kind of a rundown of the agenda that happened over at the Quarter Palace, and I got to say, if half of it was true,
Man,
it was
wild.
on.
Do you think that you could be you wouldn't classify yourself as a DJ, would you? Or would you?
Well, the thing with Whoop Radio, they go with video disc jockey. Of course, it's live worldwide on the internet. There used to be a system there in the early days where you could talk to the VJ, the video disc jockey, converse with them back and forth. That's kind of went by the wayside. You now have, your cell phone if somebody knows you, or you can kind of converse with them like that. But that system kind of went away. But that VJ, yes.
And now you got Sirius Radio, so I don't know what's going to happen. Do you?
I've been into it now for about 5 years. I never in my lifetime thought I would be on Sirius XM, and mine stays on 80s on 8 and the Studio 54 channel, which is Studio 54 primarily disco, and 80s on 8 takes me back to a variety of stuff.
Studio 54?
Studio 54, it's a lot of the songs that were played in the legendary New York nightclub. And the Solid Gold and I have a Studio 54 T-shirt that we wear different costumes. This is not always the regalia that I wear. It's a theme show at Whoop. Changed it out, try to go with the flow, whether it be St. Patrick's Day, wear the green hat. But we do have a shirt, and we did a Studio 54 theme before.
You ought to do more of a regular once-a-week show. At least.
I would love to be that, and there is a window of opportunity I see not too far away to hope to be able to do that, get up there on a regular basis. And again, pre-pandemic, I had a lot more time. Things were different with the working environment, but I sure appreciate what I do now.
So maybe, Saturday nights is the time to do that?
We
start at what, 8?
6 to 8 p.m.
That's not quite late enough, is it?
Well, it depends on if I've got to be at the Salt Mountain Incorporated the next day.
Yeah.
Kind of one of those deals. We do not do the show with the intention of it being heard in real time. Now, I kind of gave up on that several years ago. Now, the best way is to catch something on my social media. If you catch it on real time, it's fine. I usually take a clip out of it. I post up on what I call Doc Hollywood's Dynamite Dozen, where I pick out 12 select songs. I posted on the 12th of the month, my favorite day of the month, the 12th, birth date, 7/12. And I designate that as Doc Hollywood's Song 1 in January, Song 6 in June, Song 7 in July. And that's when I go all out on the show to get up and do a little twist and shout and dips and doodle, and put that up and just put a little information about the song, whether it peaked out in 1987 or whatnot.
That's good to know. When did it peak? When did it come on the charts? When did it hit the top 10?
Do a little research on that, and I always mention if I saw them in concert or not. And we do pretty good with that. Quite a bit of likes and responses on that.
To get somebody to tune in every week to a radio station would be hard to do nowadays, wouldn't it? I mean, just
absolutely. And, you're talking about when we started out, it was 8 tracks, 8 tracks, and then I remember my first 8-track was a bootleg Carole King Tapestry, orange, 72 Chevelle, hand-me-down car from my cousin.
Carole King, what did she sing?
Tapestry, not too late. I feel the earth move. Was female.
Yeah.
She's not really country, but
I never really liked her for some reason.
that was the first 8-track, and then I remember, and talking about music here, when cassettes come along, I'm like, well, this will never work. Cassettes, But the advantages, so much advantages, where if you remember the 8 tracks, you couldn't reverse them. And you had only limited tracks on each side, four songs on one side, then it would do that ka-thunk.
Ka-thunk,
It would in the middle.
And then pull it out and turn it upside down.
Yes. And then, of course, then in our lifetime, too, it's CDs, then it's all this MP3. And
I never could remember the MP3s. It seems like I was busy during that era, and I just couldn't.
The same with me, and I don't pretend to go past cassettes and CDs, and I'm no sure your engineer here is astute on that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But
hey, let me tell you a funny story. I had a playlist on my phone back when playlists were kind of a thing on your phone. So I had gone to Las Vegas and I was going to drive out to Area 51 to to see the UFOs.
Sure.
And so I plugged my phone cord into I thought it was just charging because I'd rented a car. So I'm driving down the road from Las Vegas to Rachel. It's like 3 hours of nothing but straight roads and no even cars. And they kept playing the songs that were on my playlist. And I thought, boy, that is really weird. They're playing every song that's on my playlist. And I didn't know that I had plugged my phone. When I plugged it into it, it was coming across the Wi-Fi. It took me a long time to figure out that wasn't a coincidence. They was just playing my music. So that's how stupid I was.
There's been a couple of times at the radio station, just say I thought the switch was flipped, but the flip was actually switched, and I earned a 60-day vacation to the Cayman Islands. Well, so I'm kind of with you on that there. Long ways from the simplicity of the 8 tracks.
Yeah, and the on-off button. But I remember before that, there were some cars that were made. Wasn't there some cars that were made with record players? Wasn't there some of the old Dodge vehicles had even a record player in it, which didn't make sense, but I believe it did. A Lincoln. Hot Rod Lincoln.
Hot Rod Lincoln. Don't have an independent recollection. I can remember some having the old shoebox cell phone in it.
Yeah, that was way advanced.
Yeah.
Well, so you remember Carole King as being your first 8-track tape? So I remember it being Van Halen.
Oh, you got
Run with the Devil.
You got off to a good start there.
I wore that song out.
Some good music, and I was fortunate enough to be at the Van Halen concert there in '82. There was a lot of people from Cleveland down there. Then later on, I've seen Van Halen with all 3 lead singers. Just as a side note there of the history of the band, Roth, another guy named Gary Cerrone had it for 3 years, from '98 to 2001, I believe. So yeah, Van Halen there, good music.
Why is it we enjoy music so much, but I couldn't sing or play nothing?
That's me either. Yeah, again, bringing back memories from the youth, time of innocence. Still in our teens there, and working at the Red Food Store. Still, I would say, impressionable to a point.
What would you give to be able to play the guitar like Ted Nugent?
Wow.
Everything?
Yeah. Saw him in concert 2 different times. Yeah, Nugent. Yeah, great show there. He opened for Kiss on a farewell tour in 2000 at UTC Arena. But I remember about that show is he lit an arrow lit pulled it back, and it was really on fire. I mean, it wasn't no joke. And I told the people, let's get under our seat.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on right here.
Yeah.
He fired that thing off, and he hit the bullseye. But seen Nugent again in a small venue in Chattanooga just within 10 years ago. But yeah.
Oh, really? He have a big crowd?
It was off the beaten path
You mean like
place
the
there.
Tivoli or what?
It was a place it's now defunct, called Track 29. It's now, I think, probably plowed over in condominiums or something in Chattanooga. But it was a good show, yeah.
Well, they must be doing pretty good to have him there.
Yeah, it was a good night. I was surprised, too, at the name recognition there.
Yeah. I wonder if all those people on the top 100 or top 10, if they pay to get there. You ever wonder that?
Yeah.
I mean, how do they know that this is a hot... I mean, I'm not calling in saying play that song. So how they know it's number 1?
You know, I understand back in the day, some of the disc jockeys would take what they call payola.
Yeah.
Just a handful of suitcase full of cash or whatnot to
I mean,
continue to promote.
I mean, if you got 2 songs that are equally as good, why not promote one over the other?
Yeah, it is interesting. The history of it, disc jockey, the evolution from Wolfman Jack to today, the Howard Stern thing. You know,
that's the evolution, isn't it?
Wow.
Wolfman Jack to Howard Stern to Joe Rogan.
Yes.
I guess now you got to say Joe Rogan.
Catch that occasionally. Yes.
How do these people get so much people watching them? it just blows my mind. Here, I mean, I get quite a few views. You get people, name recognition, I've heard of you, but we're not national. And it's not our looks, because we're both good looking.
Thanks for saying that, you as well. Yeah, I've always said, you know, I'm looking for somebody to bebop through Whoop radio station there and say, Doc, we're going to sign you for $1 million. My response is going to be, hand me a pen.
Yeah, or $10,000 probably, or 50,000, 100,000 would get me probably.
Like, no constraints. I'm not up against an advertising budget. You know, there's no demands to be met. Just
I guess you could advertise it, right?
I'm sure there's an avenue here again. Time management. It's better off for me just to dive in and out of Cleveland a couple of hours, 3 hours invested. There's some preparation go into the show. It's not just on the fly. I'll sit down midweek and make out a playlist, and sometimes it's 20, 30 songs long, and I'll prepare it down to 12, typically 12 to 15 and under, to get through a 2-hour show there.
And you got to give a little talk about it. That's the big thing for the nostalgia. Say, this is when it came out. It was the top 10. I was doing this. I like to always pair when the song came out with what movie came out.
Sure.
At the same. That's such a big deal to me for some weird reason.
A lot of soundtracks.
And even what they were wearing.
We'll do a theme on that sometimes. I've dressed up like Michael Jackson. One glove on, probably the only show in the history of the United States for video jockey, VDJ. One glove on in that era, Off the Wall, Thriller album. I've done the Prince themes with the purple shirt on, hair changed a little bit different from what it is today. Theme shows, we've done a lot of those, and it's went over pretty good. We like to look at the finished product is pretty good.
So if you're at work, you're not Doc Hollywood.
No, my hair is in a ponytail down my shirt, 2 bands around it. I do not associate. I don't even talk about the show on property. And I found, Dee, and you talked earlier about people not, why they could find something wrong with disco. There have been a few people along the way. I'd mentioned, who I was and what I did. I have a 10-minute conversation with them, and next thing I know, they're breaking it off in me like, well, disco's silly, sucks. There are that people out there, are that type of person. I've got to where I'm just, just two different people, black and white. Do my job during the day, and I've left my card in a few bars here and there, thinking it would drum up some kind of interest or some kind of viewing, and I've found a couple of them laying in the parking lot on the way out. I'm like, gee, thanks a lot. You talked to me for 30 minutes, but it's just not their thing.
Say I'm not embarrassed, but so you're living in Chattanooga now?
Yes, I've been down there since February of '98. Job took me down there.
Do you ever come down to Cleveland during the week to eat lunch or anything?
I met Ron Moore a couple times when we were doing the Truett and Taylor's Elementary School reunions, and then when I was doing some of the Bradley reunions, come have meetings, reunion meetings.
Why Ron Moore? Was he wasn't in your...
Ron Moore, I believe, was a class of '72 out of Bradley, where I was '82. Met him. I knew of him through the cable company. Always impeccably dressed. I'd see him out at different places. Seemed like he's always on a business luncheon. He had the show there with his wife, Debbie Moore. Old Town Cleveland, aired 10 a.m. to 12.
I've had her on here.
Very good.
She's real smart.
Extensive knowledge. All things yesteryear, Cleveland, especially on old graveyards and things like that. Specialty. But they invited me on the show, and got to be friends with him. And then we were later on a little sports show there. It's kind of went by the wayside on Whoop, called it Good Sports. And I kind of latched onto that thing for a few years. Due to time management, some of the guys have had to fall off of it, and kind of tough to do a one-man sports show. So
Yeah, yes, it is, isn't it? Nobody to argue with. Or
nobody to
whatever.
argue with, or your team's better than mine or whatnot. But I met Ron through that, and he was on the Whoop football pick'em panel. And he did great. I mean, it was like he would come in there and pick 12 games, and it's like consistently he was 10-2, 11-1, 12-0. I'm like, what does this guy know that I don't? I put the same research into it probably. But at the end of the week, I'm 7-5 and 8-4, and this guy's, like, got to know him, a lot of respect for him. Was always very nice to me. And
He's passed away now, hasn't he?
yes, yeah, Ron. Again, two-time guest on Old Town Cleveland that I remember. All things Cleveland in the 80s. Talked about everything from hanging out at Hardee's to the Burger Chef, and he goes back a little further than my day, and he appreciated all that I brought to the table there on the Old Town Cleveland show.
What gives, like on here, I can't play music without the rights or something. The intro song, I even had to buy the rights to use it. I couldn't play it. What gives the radio station the right to play a song and I can't?
I'm not sure if they do that. There's some initials on that as well. There's not exactly sure how that gets clearance and how
But
it does.
you can, if it's in your...
Yes, yes, we can do that if it's in the catalog there.
So, let me ask you this. What's in the manila folder?
Let's see. Brought to you, the aforementioned tokens game room free plays there.
Oh, yeah, tokens.
I don't remember ever getting ripped off, but I guess
For
that was the
everybody
remedy.
that's under 40 like me,
Two
Family
free-
Amusement Center. Boy, it wasn't no Family Amusement Center.
No, and along with it, I'm telling you the story about doing the dumpster dive. I got the rules board out of the dumpster as well, and I'm relatively sure at one time or another I violated all the 10 rules of the no showing of affection.
Yeah. No showing of affection.
Probably with the only exception maybe to no smoking. It wasn't my thing. So.
You never were a smoker, were you? Wonder why.
No, and I tell people.
I never was a smoker.
At Bradley, when it went up there, had that smoking area, which was crazy. I think it's an open air thing or something now.
Yeah.
But I'll always remember that. That time, the game room there, young and innocent there. Had a lot of fun hanging out there.
What about the Village Mall? Do you remember Kresge's?
Absolutely.
Was S&S or Center?
I believe it was SS Kresge's. SS Kresge's.
Do you remember they had a restaurant in there, and so did Revco.
I do remember that.
But for some reason, I never bought any. I always ate at. I used to sell grits there, newspapers, and then I'd sell just about enough to get a BLT. I don't know why I got that, but I just remember. Isn't that weird? What you remember?
I do remember there eating there. That the mall was something for us growing up here. In Cleveland, Bradley County in the '80s, or the hub, and kind of thing how it transferred from the Cleveland Mall and continued to migrate up north.
Yeah, when you went to the Cleveland Mall, see by the Cleveland Mall, it was good too, but it was just I don't know. It was just out of our age frame, I guess, maybe, or something.
Gee, it never really caught on, resonated with me like the Village there.
And neither did the cinema over on Grove Avenue. I never really went there for some reason.
Not so much either. I'm sure I've been there a time or two.
What was the first movie you remember seeing at the Village Theater?
Wow, of course, I saw the Saturday Night Fever, and how, again, I meant to bring that up. I don't know how I got into that thing, underage, I'm rated R.
Isn't that crazy? It's
just
crazy.
walked right in. I didn't have the mustache now that I sport
You
now.
haven't aged a bit, and to me, you look like that back then.
The hair is just a little longer there for this.
Not much.
I don't independently recall the first one I saw there. I know that Saturday Night Fever thing, that's the one that stands out to me. I remember seeing The Shining there in 1980, the Jack Nicholson thing.
I never went to scary movies.
Yeah.
I saw
no,
the Cowboys. That was the first movie I saw there.
So there. I remember going, and of course, over to the Starview Drive-In back in the day.
Yeah, I remember. Well, you know, I miss a drive-in, don't you? Just the whole, you know, there's a place in Blue Ridge that I'll go. You can go up there and stay at a motel. It's like an hour away, and you can go to the Swan Theater, and it's just, it's like it hasn't changed since 1930 or whatever.
How about that?
It's not even a screen. It's just metal sheets of tin that they projected on.
You know, that Starview, I remember going down to the playground area in front of the screen.
Yeah.
And you were taking your life in your own hands for the big bugs that were, you know, attracted to the screen there.
Yeah.
Of course, it was inevitable that somebody was going to drive off and leave the speaker on on your window.
I've done that with gas pumps, haven't you?
Nearly.
I have done it.
Nearly.
You remember over at the Orbit that, did you ever get back gas at the Orbit on 25th?
I'm sure I did.
Well, they had, I forget what his name there, Curtis. And I always liked Curtis. He's a real nice guy. But anyway, I remember I went in there and pumped gas, and I didn't even pay. I just left. My mind was somewhere else. And I went way out to Ooltewah Ringo Road to play golf at this par 3 place, and it dawned on me I hadn't paid. I didn't even put the gas up. And so I called, though. I said, Curtis, I forgot to take the pump out, and I didn't pay. He said, it's okay, nothing got hurt, it's okay. I remember he was really nice to me. It's like $25 or something.
I think I've came close, but not to that degree there. And I hadn't been letting long go, fool with the cell phone or whatnot there, and just kind of losing focus for a minute.
So what do you think's the future for all of this that we're talking about? If we could, I mean, I like talking about nostalgic stuff, but I don't want to feel like that it's over, or that, you know, that irritates me as much as the other, because it's not over. I mean, it's you know, let's say we're going to live to be 80. Well, that's 20 years from now, 23 for me. So 23 years ago would have been what? Would have been how old? 25, something.
Yeah, about that.
Something, 20, 30 maybe. Well, it's been a long time since I was 30.
Yeah.
So I've got that much more to look forward to. And you say, well, you're more likely to die. Not really, because I was more careless then.
Oh, yeah. You know, some of the things I look back on now, I think I wouldn't do some of the stunts and running around and taking chances for any amount of money.
Did you ever ride with Chuck in his Grand Prix? Or was it Grand Prix or Gran Torino?
I believe it was was it Monte Carlo?
Monte Carlo, that's what it was. Dark maroon, wasn't it?
Dark maroon, yeah. That thing should be on the museum down at 5 Points on the roof.
That was
thing.
the fastest. I guess that was the fastest car short of a Tesla that I've ever been in.
Yeah, it had some get up and go to it, that's for sure. I remember.
We almost got hit by a train in it.
I remember you guys talking about that thing and going over the track down there, somewhere near Dockery.
In Dockery. We just went across the railroad track, just didn't know it, and all of a sudden,
Oh, it wasn't trying to beat the train. It
No,
was
we just driving across, and the truck wasn't looking.
I remember you guys talking about that thing, and it seemed like sometimes that train track was taking at a high rate of speed, and I think you could see sparks flying.
That car would literally fly. I don't know why it was so fast. I think the front end had the fiberglass was broke or something.
It was definitely a big block engine, and whatever it was, it would go.
Now, didn't you drive a Mustang?
I had that for a brief time, but primarily I drove that 67 Camaro. black, had those gold nugget rims.
You always had nice vehicles.
Was pretty fortunate to have what I did there. Drove that thing my senior year and beyond, and I caved into the newer model Z28 Camaros and traded it in for that. Somewhat
What
regrettable.
made you always have a nice car?
Well, I was employed, and like I say, the finance and the red food thing there, it went a pretty good ways for me.
You always had nice cars and good-looking girlfriends.
Oh, thanks for the positive comment there. Had a lot of fun back in the day in the 1980s. I'll tell you that. There was a lot of places around Cleveland to go watching the submarine races and things like that. So, loved that car. Regretted getting rid of it.
What do you drive now?
Oh, I'm still in the Camaros, a newer model now. I've just kind of in the bloodline there.
What part of Chattanooga you living in?
Down in Hickson, it's been good for me. Been down there nearly 25 years, pretty much in that area. Employment took me down there. And,
So, Hickson is like Glen Sarah Drive, is that right? Glen Sarah Drive?
Highway 153.
Yeah, Glen Sarah Drive and Dave Matthews Surveying on Hamill Road.
Yes,
Hamill Road?
yes, yeah. One of the most dangerous intersections
Boy, it is,
in
isn't
Hamilton County there. I cross it often and always wear my seatbelt, that's for sure.
Where you live about from Hamill Road?
Ain't very far, mile down the road. Out down the road, without
So-
giving away the specific address
So-
to the Hollywood Hickson Hilton, I call it there. A magical place, D. Rolling the
Is
on
that
this-
kind of like close to, there's a Panera Bread down there?
Yeah, in that area. Yes, that mall there. And enjoy the area. It's about my speed right there.
Hickson's a little bit slower pace than a lot slower pace than Chattanooga, or even East Brainerd, right?
Oh, absolutely. And going back to the 80s there, you know, nothing to go down Brainerd Road, carefree at night, you know, past midnight, you know, not anymore.
Did you ever go to Bud's on Brainerd?
Been there a few times. Nice restaurant environment. It's just not my thing. I'm more up with the dance music. You're moving around, stirring around, not
Bud's was more of a pool hall.
a sports bar type of
Yeah.
thing where your entertainment's pretty much focused
Yeah.
on the television or
TV.
whatnot,
Yeah.
kind of manufacturing
Yeah.
your own entertainment. I'm more about getting up and moving around, that type of thing.
Where can you do that nowadays?
Oh, well, Chattanooga, there's been some places, they've revamped down near Station Street. There's a couple of dance clubs down that way. Those are the ones that come to mind. A lot of them went by the wayside there. You know, as time has progressed, I don't know of any other than that. We don't get out hardly at all like I used to.
Don't you think kids are I know those days had their danger, but really they're missing a lot by not still having some of that. And they don't have it, I don't believe.
Not like they were. So many clubs we talked about earlier there, from Paul Gray's Play Late Club. I spent time at to Party Zone to Cracker Jacks. A lot of bars.
Oliver's, I think Oliver's one there.
There may have been. Yeah, it was good time. Good clean fun. Now,
I don't think they have that anymore.
don't think there's anything like that going on. There's just it's a lot of it's a lot more dangerous. I mean, I never thought about anything other than just making it back home, which I always did somehow in one piece.
Boy, if a person ever left a place like that drinking and hit somebody, it'd just ruin their life, wouldn't it?
That's the reality of it.
That's stupid, isn't it?
Thank goodness for Uber.
Boy, I know it.
I got an Uber account and appreciate that.
How does that
opportunity.
work? You just have an account?
Account, financial credit card or debit card on the other end of it.
Oh, so you don't know the driver, but they're getting paid from your... Boy, that's a genius idea.
Yeah, it's just exactly what we were taught not to do as kids.
Right.
Get in the car with strangers you don't know. Of
Yeah,
course,
and that's what Uber is. Isn't that crazy?
I believe to a degree it's licensed, bonded, insured, I'm sure, along the way.
Surely,
Never had a
surely.
bad experience, and thank goodness for Uber there.
And what about this Uber Eats now?
You know, I'm not caught on to that. I'm not sure. McDonald's is not very far down the street
Yeah.
from where I'm at, and the Waffle House, and several
Yeah.
other fast foods. So, Solid Gold's good about cooking up a meal. So, that may
Solid
be,
Gold. Now, is that your partner?
yes, on the show.
Yeah.
Yes, Solid Gold co-host there.
I saw her. She seems really upbeat and happy, and
Been good to me, putting up with me on that show there. It's kind of intense sometimes in the show preparation, but when the switch is on, we're in sync there. Had a real good time.
you seem like you're in sync.
Had a lot of fun with it.
Do you ever miss Cleveland, living in Cleveland? I mean, 25 years is a while.
And yes, even coming up here today, I come up the old route, Highway 11. Am I saying that right? And
Yeah.
slower traffic out on
Yeah.
the interstate. I didn't
Yeah.
want to be late, so even coming up that way, then coming through the south end of Cleveland. Yes, I'm out of it just enough to appreciate it each time I come in, and especially going down to the Village Green Town Center, known as the Village back in the day. There's always something, a memory that pops up, and the people that have stayed in Cleveland, all these years, lifelong. I wonder if they feel, every day the nostalgia, if it's just anything to it. But yes, absolutely, I drive by, where the Starview drive-in theater was. See different things. Businesses have changed multiple times over the years, different names. Brings back memories, absolutely.
Yeah, I was down to the Village Green about 2 weeks ago, and I was walking through, and I thought, that's where I used to stand to sell grits. And I thought, well, when I come back out, I'll stop here and just reminisce a bit. And I was in such a hurry coming out, there wasn't no way I could stop. So we can't stop and think very long. And it's not that we forget, it's just part of life, and we just gotta roll with the changes, like REO Speedwagon says.
Good way to put it. Good way to put it. Yes, absolutely.
You got anything else we need to bring up?
Oh, I'm good here on this stuff. Just some of the funny things, talk about back in the 1980s. I'm hanging out, and one night I was out with a group of guys, and one of them had parked across the street from the Crystal, and used to pull over there in the area there near the bank, and you watch cars go by, and me and some other guys were sitting over. Like I
You
said,
used to park there when you worked or just up from there.
just up from there.
Yeah, you always parked the same spot. Why do I remember that?
that car, distinctive car
Under
there.
the telephone pole.
I remember
or
the
light
guy.
pole.
Yep. Absolutely. Good memory. Good memory. One of the guys come
I
running
remember
across
that.
4 lanes of traffic and telling us somebody was swinging at him with a tire tool, and he'd pulled over there, and then some kind of miscommunication between them, and all the guys got up and were going to run across 4 lanes of traffic to rescue him. I wasn't real quick, of course. The report was somebody swinging a tire tool. I was going to see what happened.
Yeah, let them go first.
And another 80s memory when I thought about doing this show is, do you remember right there at the intersection of Keith and 25th, where it was at the KO gas station, or
Yeah, the KOA, I think. KOA.
It's several different things now.
Yeah, it's a check into cash place
something
now.
to that effect,
I
yeah.
remember, yeah. Little bitty building.
So that thing right there, I think, is where some of that drinking started back in the day. With that, you get that malt duck. It was probably what's wrong with me today, drinking so much. There was 2 flavors, apple and cherry, and didn't do much of that. But it was after a little bit of it, it got so sweet you couldn't stand it. But there in that same area, there's grassy knoll there, and I don't know if you have this memory. The guy set up the sawhorses, plywood,
And sold flags?
sold silkscreen printing, Ocean Pacific, Panama Jack, the bootleg shirts. It went on for a while.
A long time.
And I think finally, you were getting the same thing off the rack up at Hickson's at that time at the Cleveland
Yeah,
Mall for
yeah.
$29.99 or
Yeah.
$39, whatever it was. And it finally got shut down to that. Do you remember?
I remember that because he'd have them hanging. Because I always thinking, why would somebody want to buy in Cleveland want to buy a shirt about Panama Jack? Because that was sort of a Florida thing.
And the Ocean Pacific, I bought several of them, gave them out to friends.
Ocean Pacific, yeah, that
was a fad,
That
like-
was kind of a GQ type,
Yeah.
early, or would you call it preppy? I guess preppy.
Somewhat,
Yeah.
Yeah, along with the Izod thing, but they did. I don't remember how many Izod. It was all that silkscreen
No,
printing,
yeah,
just
yeah.
quick off the press.
Izod had already kind of gone by then, hadn't it? Izod was more 79, 81.
79, 81, and I got caught up in that fad of that thing. Sometimes I'd wear two polo shirts, and show the multiple colors there around the collar. It, had a little fun with that. That's a memory I had around Cleveland, kind of the more comical. And, and I remember being out with Chuck and those guys one night.
Who else? Chuck and who else?
Chuck, Tony, and, I don't know if you were in
Tony Gobble.
Tony Gobble.
Yeah.
If you were in the car that night, somebody had gotten a hold of a fire extinguisher.
Blake Chapman? Remember Blake?
I do remember Blake. I don't remember if he was out that night.
If it was somebody got a hold of a fire extinguisher, it was probably Chuck.
And they figured out, whichever one in the group, that you could put water in a thing, and then you could put air in it at the gas station. It's wonders they didn't explode on them. And they would, it was midnight rides, what I remember, and some of that thing was shot and squirted. And well, getting at, we were pulled over by the cops down there one night. We'd been down at Beatty Feed and Hardware, I believe. I don't know if I was a trigger man, probably not, but I was just as guilty as the rest of them. And we'd washed the windows at the payphone, the then payphone, to date this time, and side of the windows are dirty or whatever. Cop eventually pulled us over, been following us down Wildwood. I didn't know it. So I'm in the back seat, and this is a Friday or Saturday night. Pull in at 5 Points there, and then right, I think maybe in Chris Monument or something up on the hill, or
Yeah, Chris Monument, yeah,
Orbit or
yeah.
something right there. So a bit of something, thinking, oh, we're all going to jail. I was probably the only one 18 in the
Yeah.
car. I think this is it. I think my parents are going to come by here. It's Friday or Saturday night, right there at 5 Points. The cop, very respectful, eventually discovers the fire extinguisher. What my memory is, the guy, he pulled it out and he squirted it. The hose stood up like, nobody's business. Like, oh, that's what you boys were doing down there,
Yeah.
Whatnot. So that wasn't so bad. So he eventually asked us to get out of the car for some reason I remember, and I was never so glad, because the cop, whatever possessed him, looked further in the back seat and had a keen eye, because I was in the back seat where the back seat met the bottom seat.
Yeah.
Apparently Chuck had a pump shotgun, and I had been sitting back there the whole night on the
And you
blanket.
didn't know it?
I had no idea. Giggling, moving around. I could have been blown my.
It might have been a shotgun. It might have been a BB gun. I don't know, right?
Yeah.
What did the cop say?
Oh, what my memory is that the cop asked for the gun and got out of the car, and my memory is he chunk, took shells out of it. He was handed back over. I don't
Yeah.
believe there was any confiscation.
Yeah.
Nobody was drinking, nothing
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
But that was one of those nights there. And, in that car, he had that 38 special 8-track.
Oh, yeah,
Had
yeah.
that Wild-Eyed
Yeah,
Southern
yeah.
Boys playing that.
Oh, I remember that. I remember riding in that car hearing that song so much.
Hold On Loosely,
Oh,
Wild-Eyed
but don't
Southern
let- yeah.
Boys,
Boy, that was
Fantasy
good
Girl.
music, wasn't it?
That
Boy,
was-
it was a good record, wasn't it? Or-
And I don't know if you remember, there was somebody down at McDonald's. What I remember, after school, we would go by there, and a French fry was ordered or something, and then next thing I know, 2 or 3 hamburgers were coming out the
Oh, I
drive-thru with
remember.
2 or 3 large
I always
Cokes.
gave him to Tony. Remember, he always, I think that girl was sweet on him.
There was something going on there. I was guilty as the rest of them for eating it. I was not the primary, but it's kind of like with the house of ill reputes busted. The piano player is taken
I
too.
remember,
So
I know who it was, I know who was handing it out, and I know who was eating it.
yeah, I was a recipient of, especially them large fries. It was hot off the grill there. But those were so much fun times, and used to meet down there at McDonald's, and
Boy, they'd hand out bags, wouldn't they?
yeah, it was.
Boy, it was terrible, wasn't it?
It was it was that gig then. I'm not sure what happened to
Yeah.
it, but just faded away.
That was
or
when
whatnot.
the gondolier was across the street. Remember, they were across the street
yeah.
at that time. I think they'd just come to Cleveland at the time.
Gondolier. Yeah, that was a nice destination
Yeah,
place
they had
there.
Pac-Man.
Yeah,
We'd skip school and go play Pac-Man all day.
Yeah, and the foyer. You know, you talk about that. I'll tell you about this memory from Bradley. My senior year, I had what they call PE2, and it involved you would go load up at a bus. Steve Williams would drive the little short bus down to the bowling alley. Sometimes you'd go skating rink. We'd routinely slip off from the bowling alley, just go up to Tokens, play games. You know, it was under 18, nobody here between 8 and whatever. I didn't care, but. We slip off and do that PE2 there. A lot of fun, a lot of good memories from that time.
It's really, you know, after talking to somebody like you, I remember those things. I forgot about the McDonald's thing. I forget about a lot of that stuff. I bet if we had somebody else here that was in that same group, they would remember that stuff too. We'd say, oh yeah, I remember. What about Blake Chapman? I hadn't seen him, and I seen him on Facebook like once or something. I think he moved off.
Haven't had in touch with him for years there. Yeah,
he was real smart.
Yeah, bag boy up front there.
Bag boy up front. He could pop them bags.
Yeah. That was, they'd get on to you if you were too loud there. And,
he'd get close.
Yeah, hadn't seen that crew and kind of lost track with them. Maybe there'll be a reunion someday.
We ought to get a reunion of Red Food Stores.
From back in the day.
Yeah. Well, Parrish, is there anything, or Doc Hollywood, is there anything else?
Oh, I'm good here. Just I did bring a few things, just concert stubs and whatnot. But that's the bulk of them here. And thank you for being receptive to that. Maybe you can find a special spot for it here.
I'm gonna put it up here where I can look at it every day.
Of course, it gets a shameless plug for Doc Hollywood's Dynamite Dance Show, which on select Saturday nights. There, a card there near the bottom.
Well, you can go back to your Facebook page and look at some of your things and listen to some of the music, right? What's your Facebook?
It's under Doc Hollywood. Of course, not my real name, but that's close enough. You know, here again, kind of talking about the KZ 106 days when I learned that certain of those guys' names on air personality was not their real name. You know, it was something totally different.
Yeah.
And going back even further, when my brother were kids, we would see people in the Bradley County jail dockets like they were, you know, John Smith, also known as Peanut. You know, like, well, we want to be, an also known as. Like, what's going to be our alias? We've wondered about that for years.
Yeah.
So, and it evolved, like I was talking to you about earlier. But, Facebook, just Doc Hollywood, and you can send me a friend request there. If that's your palette, it's a limited palette here again for the consumption of what I do there. It's different. Meeting with the powers that be there in the foyer at Whoop Radio some time ago. They're looking for something different, and that sure fit the bill. And been running with it. That's show in several different iterations, but like what it is today, it's been there since 2012, and I hope to continue it on.
I'm gonna call you someday and have a cup of coffee at Panera Bread there in Hickson.
Let's do it.
Hey, I love you, man.
Love you too, dude.